It is time for our main event of the night, a flyweight fight, and it's going to be a great one. To kick it off, let's go to our cage announcer, Tyson Johnson.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the cage, Anthony Doe.
Entering first, Anthony Doe also trains out of AKA American Kickboxing Academy out of San Jose. Once again, shout out to Javier Mendez. Their fighters are always ready. And Anthony, the antidote Doe, you know he's going to be ready, going for his 9th professional win.
Anthony Doe is a killer that I have watched a lot of, and I'm really excited to see him get in here and face off against Victor Rosas. Some of my bulletproof points for victory for Anthony Doe. Number 1, establish dominant angles. He has fantastic movement and footwork. What he needs to do is utilize that footwork to put him in a position that is advantageous so he can land a big strike to potentially knock his opponent out. Number 2, avoid wild exchanges. Move around, figure out where he wants to be, land, and then get back out. And lastly is to mix it up. Come inside, strike a little bit, kick a little bit, move in, move out. When his opponent advances too much, go for the takedowns. The more he turns this into a mixed martial arts bout, I think the more likelihood we'll see in him walking out tonight with his hand raised.
I love asking other fighters about the fighters that are going to fight. So Anthony Doe, he fought in a card in Japan along with Efrain Escudero, who's our play-by-color commentator in Spanish. So I asked him, I go, how is Anthony Doe? He's like, man, you're going to love him. He's crazy. He's crazy. He's just all over the place. He's all energy. You don't know what he's going to do. So, man, I got hooked. I'm like, ooh, I want to see this. Anthony Doe. His last fight, though, he lost via triangle choke, but he has fought at the ONE Championship. He's fought everywhere. Extremely talented. Let's go now to our cage announcer for his opponent.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the cage, Victor Rosas.
Rosas. Victor. Oh, he's so glad to get back inside a cage. Why? His last 3 fights were canceled. Imagine you're training, you're getting ready, and then COVID and all those situations and everything here and there, and one fight gets canceled. A second one gets canceled. Third gets canceled, and he said, no, I don't want that to happen again. So he comes to Lights Out Extreme Fighting, and he's in the main event.
You know, as somebody who has had a handful of fights canceled, I know that most of the time it happens because somebody's a little scared. Victor Rosas is a scary dude with incredible hands. What he needs to do, he needs to let those hands go inside of the cage. To do that, he needs to cut off the ring. Anthony Doe has fantastic movement, so he needs to utilize his footwork to cut off the ring so that he can let his hands go. But utilizing that forward pressure and letting his hands go, he needs to be wary of the takedown. Anthony Doe has fantastic jiu-jitsu, and too much pressure by Victor Rosas may make him vulnerable for a takedown. So he needs to stay off his back and be weary of the takedown while cutting off the ring and letting his hands go. One thing I can tell you, Pablo, is this match is going to be an absolute banger.
125 pounds. These are flyweights. Have you ever tried catching a fly? Well, it's the same thing for these guys in the cage. I feel for the cameraman because you got to work that camera left and right, and you guys at home are going to sit back and enjoy it. Pump up the volume, put the needle on the record because the main event is next. Anthony Doe taking on Victor Rosas. Oh, I can't wait for this fight.
Yeah, don't blink, and these lightweights are like Energizer bunnies. They just don't stop, and both of these guys want to finish here in their Lights Out Extreme Fighting debuts.
Victor Rosas, his last 3 were canceled, but before that he had 3 wins in a row, and he won by a left hook knockout, then the other one by a triangle choke, and he also got a stoppage. So he can beat you on the ground, he can beat you with his fists. 30 years old for Anthony Doe, 34 for Victor Rosas, 5'7", so slight longer reach for Rosas, both weighing in at 125 pounds. Let's go with Tyson Johnson for our main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, this Lights Out main event is 3 5-minute rounds in the flyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This fighter stands 5 feet, 5 inches tall. He weighed in at 125 pounds. He represents the American Kickboxing Academy with a mixed martial arts record of 8 wins and 6 defeats. He hails from San Jose, California. Please welcome Anthony Doe. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner stands 5 feet 7 inches tall. He weighed in at 125 pounds. He represents the North County MMA Fight School with an MMA record of 6 wins and 2 defeats. He hails from Escondido, California. Please welcome Victor Rosas. Your referee for this bout will be Jason Herzog.
Jason Herzog, the referee. Experience by Jason. He's called some of the greatest fights as well. He's inside the lights out cage. Time for our main event. Alongside Blake Bulletproof Troop, I am Pablo Alcina. Rosas Doe is next. They're locking up the cage.
Ready.
And the fight is underway. Doe, they call him the antidote in the black and gray pants. Rosas out of the red corner with the black and red.
Anthony Doe has such an high-paced movement. Whoa, a little slip there. But so much movement out of Anthony Doe. It is incredible watching this guy fight, how much he moves around inside of the cage.
Anthony Doe, they're swiping his feet, trying to knock off whatever wetness was there, but he definitely slipped.
Whoa.
No, straight right from Rosas that connects. Nice combination. You see the speed from Victor.
Yeah, Victor Rosas, like I said in his bullet points for victory, needs to let his hands go. And he did just that very early on in the round, and we saw some damage land on Anthony Doe. He needs to continue that in a patient manner that doesn't get him taken down, but he needs to let those hands go.
And for a flyweight, Rosas doesn't move around much. He's coming straight forward towards Doe.
Victor's doing a great job not overextending on his strikes either. He's staying planted and throwing good power behind him without overextending himself.
Ooh, and they're also really short strikes. You see, he doesn't extend the arm at all like you're saying. They're quick and short, and the uppercut connected as well. And they're really tight to the body, protecting those body shots.
Yeah, I'd like to see Doe do a better job of getting advantageous angles on his opponent. He's standing right in front of Victor Rosas, and when you're right in front of your opponent and he's right in front of you, it becomes a 50-50 gunslinger battle. I don't recommend that. I recommend stepping a little bit out so you have an angle on your opponent, but he's still right in front of you.
The jab connected and kind of moved Doe.
Yeah, Victor Rosas has incredible power in his hands. That's why I say he is one scary dude, and I am not. Whoa!
Nice body kick by Rosas. Now going low to the leg. It's kind of like a tree. You can chop it down all over the place. Sooner or later, the whole branches start weakening. And an uppercut by Rosas. A right by Doe that connects. We told you these flyweights are quick and fast. Doe connecting. Now looking for the Muay Thai clinch and a knee that kind of got through.
Yeah, back and forth exchanges. That's why we said don't blink, because someone could go, oh, shot.
We saw it in the co-main event. Finished with an overhand right. Now Rosas, little blood coming from the left nostril of Doe.
Rosas doing a good job of throwing combinations. We're seeing Doe kind of step in and throw a punch, while Rosas will send 2, 3, especially in the counterattacks, 2 or 3 punches back.
Last fight was dominated by the left jab and the overhand right. This one's starting to get dominated by the same thing. The left jab and the overhand right are working for Victor Rosas.
Yeah, the later punches in the exchanges particularly, coming out with a nice kick. Coming out with a good jab, but that hook or whatever he's following up for number 2 or number 3 are typically the ones landing and doing the real damage. We see some blood now from the face of Anthony.
And another overhand right that connects, and the breathing's going to be tough for Doe. He has blood streaming down. It's affecting his breathing.
Now we see Doe almost just standing right in front of his opponent. He needs to do a better job of utilizing his angles to prevent these gunslinger exchanges.
That one to the body connected. But Doe is one of those fighters, just because there's blood, that might make him more aggressive. He's not shying down at all after getting hit.
I mentioned Anthony Doe needs to avoid wild exchanges, and he needs to mix it up. Thus far, we've been seeing him get inside, some wild exchanges, and only using his hands, while it's Victor Rosas who's really mixing up the hands and feet in his attacks.
Great left kick to the body, now a knee and an overhand right coming down, using all the angles with that right hand. He's throwing uppercuts. There you see an uppercut, followed by a snapping left jab. Woo. Beautiful boxing by Rosas so far.
Yeah, Doe needs to stop standing directly in front of Rosas, because Rosas has been doing great damage with now his hands and his feet while Doe's staying inside the pocket.
Oh, another right.
These are wild exchanges that I recommend Anthony Do start avoiding.
Yeah, Anthony Do might want to step back and regroup because he kept going forward, and all he's doing is eating shots and kicks.
Yeah, I agree. A lot more in and out motion from him. But the thing is, we see Victor almost just standing and holding his ground, conserving a ton of energy, picking his shots and then landing a few at a time.
Yeah, I mean, Victor Rosas doesn't even fight like a flyweight. He fights like a middleweight. He's standing his ground. He's not moving. Short punches. Great work by Rosas.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that he has been doing a bunch of Mexican-style boxing, the way that he'll stand in the pocket, sink his feet down, and throw some heavy hands back at his opponent, particularly in combinations like we saw just there.
Exactly. Nothing wild about it. The elbows tight to the body, solid, not wasting any kind of energy at all. Just brilliant boxing.
Yeah, basic fundamentals go a long way. Whoa!
Oh! Do with two wild punches, but Rosas responds, and the eye opening up, big cut on Anthony Do, and they're definitely going to call the doctor to see that.
Yeah, a lot of blood now coming out of the nose of Anthony Do, and I'm not even sure when that happened. It's hard to tell because Victor Rosas has been landing some fantastic hands throughout the round. Let's take a look at some replays from round one.
I think it happened. Do throws two overhand punches, a left and a right, and then Rosas catches him with a straight hook. See if we see it again. It's coming up later on.
It's a beautiful job there by Rosas to land a few strikes, step in, but not overly zealous. Ooh, that right uppercut. And these are the wild exchanges I would like to see Do avoid and try and be a little bit more strategic about when that happens. Wobbled him there.
Yeah. See if we see it here. Do's going to throw two punches. There's one. There's two. Boom! And there comes it was a right, not a left. But it was just perfect, and that's what opened them up.
Yeah, especially when we see Do throwing wild, looping punches like that, and then Victor Rosas come back with something straight down the pipe, landing flush.
The shortest distance from point A to point B, or from my fist to your face, is a straight line, and that's what we're seeing from Rosas. Just straight jabs, straight uppercuts, straight punches, just solid, compact, beautiful boxing.
Yeah, and you can see the doctor now checking Anthony Do. I'm not surprised he's going to allow... Whoa! Waves the fight!
That I did not expect either. I did not see how deep the cut was inside, though, and if it's affecting his breathing a ton, because his nose is pretty busted also. So at that point, if the doctor asks, can you breathe from your nose, and you can't, you might have to stop it. Look at the amount of blood gushing from both nostrils.
You know, it might actually be potentially teeth knocked in on the bottom row, because it looked like he was checking his gum line and his mouth as well. Or maybe he has a broken jaw, or potentially some teeth dislodged, or something else. Because you can see here, he's looking down at the mouth.
Yeah.
And that's, in my opinion, what he calls the fight for. He's like, open your mouth, took a look in there, and I don't know what's going on inside of the mouth or nose of Anthony Do, but enough that the professionals ringside decided to call the fight.
Let's go to Bonnie Jill Laughlin with the interview with our winner, Victor Rosas, who put on a great display of boxing. Bonnie with the winner, Victor Rosas.
Victor Rosas. Wow.
Great sportsmanship there. Great sportsmanship there. Bonnie just letting them have their moment. I love seeing this. And I agree with the stoppage. And are we going to Bonnie now? Let's go to Bonnie, Jill. No, first to the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, in round number one, the doctor has stepped in to stop this bout. For your winner, by TKO, Victor Rosas.
Yeah, from this angle, the nose definitely looks broken. Victory by Victor Rosas. Now let's go to Bonnie Jill Laughlin with the very happy Victor Rosas.
Victor Rosas. Victor, how are you feeling? Did you know that was going to be that fast pace coming out of that first round?
I was hoping for a first round finish. I didn't think it was going to go to the end and then stop, but I'll take that. First round is first round.
Fantastic boxing. That's what I noticed. The combinations were really working for you. He was eating a lot of punches. That was what you knew you had to keep praying on that.
You know, I was surprised that he stood there in front of me like that. That's what I wanted. I thought he was going to move around a lot more. I was thinking that I was going to have to stop his movement, but he stood there in front of me, and that's what happens.
Once you cut him, you could tell that the breathing, he was starting to, the blood was starting to run down. His breathing was not working too well. That's when you knew you had this win.
I think it was one of those overhand rights that I caught him with that broke the nose. And then after that, I wasn't really sure if the doctor was going to let him continue or not. But he's a tough opponent. I know he was wanting to keep fighting. I would have done the same thing. I wish him the best of luck.
Were you surprised with the stoppage?
No, I kind of was thinking that might happen. I wasn't sure, like I said, if they were going to let him continue or not. I know he wanted to, but, you know, it happens.
Fantastic. Congratulations. Victor Rosas with the win.
Thank you, Bonnie Jill Laughlin. Amazing interviews for all our fights. We're going to take a quick break, but we still have a lot more. Blake Bulletproof True, Pablo Alcina. We are back to wrap up Lights Out Extreme Fighting 10.